In this video, we will continue to explore the amazing regeneration of the body through fasting by Julia Seton MD, published in 1929 by the XOXO Publishing Company. The title of the book is called The Shortcut: Regeneration Through Fasting. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Glad you found me. And to our Fortune community, welcome back. If you want to just jump into the next chapter, please go to the description and click on the timestamp. It'll take you right there. If you'd like to just hang out with me here for a minute, please do so. I want to share with you something. I read an article by the MIT News, just the same topic, that fasting boosts stem cells' regenerative capacity. They went on to say that as people age, their intestinal stem cells begin to lose their ability to regenerate. At the same time, in their studies, they stated that this age-related loss of stem cell function can be reversed by a 24-hour fast. So this is today's time. Even though this book was published in 1929, these facts from MIT are current, stating that all this can be reversed. Any research will do if you would like, whether it's the medical journals or checking on Google, looking for these sources. You'll find amazing information about this topic. While I am not endorsing the link that I added in the description regarding titled "How Does Fasting Affect Stem Cells?", I found it fascinating and worth sharing, since it is very current. And like I mentioned before, Julia Seton was a medical doctor and practiced medicine in Colorado. Again, I would recommend, if you are interested in fasting, please do check with your doctor before you start any fast or any of the practices that are recommended in this book. All right. Like I said, if you just found my channel through this video and would like to catch up, please go to my book playlist and grab the other chapters so you can get the full picture. All right, let's get started. Chapter 6, The Illuminati Fast. There are grades of fasting which one must recognize when he begins his shortcut to at-one-ment with finer sources. The one who is taking the fast for the first time cannot expect to take the same kind of fast as those who have done the fast for several months or years. After we have established the habit of fasting, we can go as far as we like in experimenting with occult laws. But in the beginning, we should take the novitiate instructions and follow them faithfully. Through these, we reach the point of mental and physical endurance and discipline, which enables us to take up the initiate's fast, or the fast of the Illuminati. After one has taken many fasts, our several bodies become accustomed to the new action and reaction, and the new demands made upon them cannot throw them out of harmony or allow them to over-intensify in any one of their sensations. The Illuminati fast is fast from food, water, emotional stimulus, sex, and sleep. There are many who learn to fast from food more easily than from drink or sleep. It is important to fast from drinking as it is to fast from food. All the fluids of the body must be withdrawn and the blood current depleted as far as possible. In the olden days, the masters used to bleed the patients, understanding even then that the life of the body is in the blood, and that a new blood current would bring about great changes in the body, and also that the blood current is the carrier of poisonous debris, and the serum of the blood is often only a stagnant pool of substance, breeding disease in the body, as a stagnant, malaria-laden pool of water poisons the air. When the infected blood was spilled, the blood current rebuilt itself, and bleeding was a shortcut to regeneration. sometimes too reincarnation as it was, like many of the old methods, too strenuous a process for the already depleted patient. And it is much too strenuous for the soft consciousness of this day and age. In the new method of fasting, the same effect bleeding is secured with none of its limitations. The blood current is drained to the lowest ebb, and when eating is begun again, a clear, sparkling stream of oxygenized blood is ready to carry the substance which nature intended it should carry. To fast from drinking until the flesh is thoroughly drained of all serum is a part of the Illuminati test. It is easily done, and the rewards come quickly to the initiate. A new bloodstream quickens every state of consciousness, while good, rich, red blood exerts a new influence on body, mind, and heart. Many can readily fast from food and water, but not from sleep. The fast from sleep is to some the greatest discipline. The world is full of sleepy heads who are nodding if they go an hour over their bedtime, and are cross, depressed, and out of all harmony if they are obliged to rise before their regular hour. The loss of one night's sleep makes perfect wrecks and cranks of them, and to have a night of broken rest renders them inert the whole of the next day. There are thousands of people who say, "I must be regular in my habits or I am perfectly worthless." Yes, these must be until they learn a new form of regularity. Some form of regularity persisted in leads of stagnation and slow unfoldment. Ruts are not valuable in any plane. Even the common race man in the wagon avoids them on his way. Early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise was written by one of those nodders who believed in it, while early to bed and early to rise may do very well for sick folks and guys was written by one who had passed the time when sleep as a habit conquered him. Sleep as a restorer, educator, and a revelator is the truth of sleep. But sleep as a habit is the consciousness that has not yet come to the power of the shortcut. Those who do not know the mysteries of night, which the long vigil of the human mind lets in the higher forces of the higher mind, have lived but half of life. There is something born from a solitary vigil that is not found in the glare and activity of the daylight world. Every hour differs from the last. There is a time just between 3 o'clock and 5 when all the vibrations of the earth change. It seems the goodbye of the night and the awakening of the day. Day holds night in some subtle, lingering embrace that will not let go until the very gray of the dawn drives the reluctant darkness from the earth. It is at the hour of 3 that egos who are just lingering for the silver cord to break will slip away. This is the death hour of the planet. Here is where the balance is most often cast, and those who fight death may well take their place at the bedside. Whether they see their ghostly visitor or not, they may know he is there, and only a strong, enduring recognition of life will hold the sick friend or loved one on this side of the veil. No one really needs to die if he really cares to live, but it takes a conscious choice of the ego man to extend his own life orbit, and with this, a strong, centralizing power on this side of the veil. Those who feel the chill of this hour creep into the room and over them will do well to understand that. The river widens as it nears the sea, and they must fling their minds with no certain desire for life, and more life. Then when the gray dawn comes, the water can lie down to sleep in peace, and the patient turn with new rest to his pillow, and all will rejoice because he is better in the morning. To the Illuminatus who watches these hours for increased vibration and wider revelation, there will come the same consciousness of the ebbing tide of life. The whole sea of power is gone, and all the gray rocks and mud-covered valleys of his life will stand revealed. All weakness, all regrets, all remorse, all failures, all loss will take mental form again and mock him. The light of hope will burn low. Empty of normal physical food, alone with the haunting memories of his past of millions of years, facing all the unrevealed adventures of 1,000,000 years to come, he thinks in eternities as well as in time. And often here the initiate turns back. The load of revelation is too heavy, and he turns shudderingly away, seeking eagerly the flesh pots and the path of evolution, rather than meet himself in the karmic precipitate of his own transmutation shortcut. The daylight is powerful, beautiful, and complete, but it is filled only with objective calls and rampant, active, surging force. It is an insistent energy that does not mean to let the mind of man rest. It is induced action on every plane, and that thing which does not move into radiant life it kills by the force of its own surging rays. The moonlight, starlight, and midnight are the great receptive forces, and in their passive action something falls like a soft mantle over the tired life of the world. No work at night can take on the wear and tear of the day to those who are in harmony with the forces of the hours. The stillness, the lack of noises that fret the nerves and brain, the soft, slow turning of the table of time, the changing vibrations of the hours themselves, the white light of the midnight hours, the dull gray of the morning dawn, all bring their own subtleties and weave them into the life substance of those who have the strength of character to seek and find. Fasting, breathing, meditation, concentration, and sleeplessness is the discipline whereby the race man opens the doors to higher power and perfected perception. He who puts his hand to the plow and turns back is not fit for the kingdom of God. The olden mystics said, there are 7 bodies with their own existing states of consciousness, which are at all times in action in the physical one, and when one fasts from sleep, he intensifies the second, or astral body, and through this he can register all the wisdom of the Akashic records of his physical brain. One part of the brain is for registration, a form of thought higher than mental thinking. In this part of mind, one does not think. The thoughts think him. His own mind is a receiving radio center and not a generator of thought force. He receives a stream of thought force so big that he does not need to translate it into thought, form, or speech. It flashes into his idea centers, and the ideas, words, and all are registered at once, like sight reading as compared to the old tiresome way of spelling and pronouncing. This registration part of the mind is the flash consciousness used by seers, prophets, and revelators. Before ye call, I hear, the masters said of old. And this is the part of man's divine mind which is and only needs to be contracted to know. Back of the knowing and the thing known stands the knower, which is ever ready to flash all wisdom into the human idea centers when the human himself will get the wireless machine of his own mind in perfect accord with the within. The Illuminati fast subordinates the flesh. It stills the discordant thinking. It hushes the emotional call and clears the field of consciousness for the flashlights of the higher self. Sometimes the bodily senses become 1,000 times more acute, but this acuteness only serves as a springboard for the higher bodies. The mind then becomes equally alert, all 5 senses over-intensified, the emotions quickened until joy can be so intense it almost becomes pain, or pain so sweet that it becomes a pleasure to match it against the ever-widening reaches of the self-conscious attainment. One often has to go far on in extended sensation before he will understand how pleasure is pain and pain is pleasure. But there is a spot where they blend, just as there is a change of normal sensation in the body in which one cannot distinguish between heat and cold when applied to the skin. In the old world, this is called disease, but in the new world, where men act naturally with so-called abnormal laws, it becomes only a place in consciousness which holds in its unrevealed crypts some revelations of the self, unguessed by the normal dwellers of world of normal sense. In the flights of illumination which come to the Illuminati, many things are revealed which before were sealed. He that lacketh wisdom, let him ask of God, was the admonition of the masters of the past. And here in this illumined place in our human mind, we are in direct contact with the universal mind, and all things being written on the records of the infinite become our personal possessions. There are many great kingdoms of consciousness awaiting our discovery. And as the higher race mind has found new levels of the physical air, and with the aeroplane is carrying his physical body far beyond the level of the path of the common man, and with the submarine is seeking out the plan of the lower kingdoms, just so the Illuminatus rises into the transcendental kingdom of his inner selfhood and discovers their new spheres of intelligence waiting for his conquest. There is a tableland of the self, and those who seek it find it, and those who do not find it can only go on pushing themselves into a fuller realization and a higher coordination until, in some inspired moment, they too will plunge headlong into a new world of beauty and delight. And then there is no darkness in the life skies. No night, dear God, no night. For listening ever to life's glorious song, all earth is light, light, light. He who fasts and goes only as far as the novitiate fasts does well, and he need not be condemned by his own mind. No hurry to force himself on into the Illuminati fast. Eternity is a long time, and the race need not hurry. It may take an even pace and still shortcut 1,000,000 years of experience, expression, and inclusion. But to the one who is ready and who comes with an unfaltering determination to go on up the steeps of the highest experiences, willing even to shortcut those who are on the novitiate's shortcut, these can come into the Illuminati fast with fearless hearts. The past, the present, and the future are one, and they must be made one in every consciousness sometime, somewhere. Somewhere we must face ourselves and all the actions and reactions of our many desires. Through the mighty years, with 1,000,000 fears, we have waited silently so. It must bring our own when the night is flown. It must let the dawn come through. There is nothing in all the mighty past of which we need to be afraid. After all, we cannot face anything but our own desires. Why should we fear in the now the things which our souls loved in the forgotten past? The brave soul longs for freedom, balance, more than for anything else. and he will stand with uncovered head or kneel in silent consecration, commanding from out of the infinite the precipitate of all that is less than freedom for his evolving soul. There is nothing that can have any power over a soul victorious. All the elemental consciousness of many millions of years will sink into oblivion before the calm determination of an illumined life. So, in the wisdom born from on high, the Illuminatus takes his place in his own universal setting. He calls from all the past behind him and from all the future before him, the balance sheet of his own soul. Then he says in the voice of the mighty silence, "By the power that is vested in me by thee, O God, I command the elements to fall before my will. God of all the host of heaven, God of angels, God of men, the light of thy benediction covers me." Instructions for the Illuminati fast. When taking the Illuminati fast, never take more than 2 days and nights at first. When taking the simple fast for illumination and prophecy, it is well to begin with 1 night without sleep. After a while, if this leaves you normal, you may take 2 nights. Only the real mystic can take 3 nights. There is never anything gained by straining for revelation. 2 days and nights is the limit for the novitiate of the spiritual discipline. After that, sleep and eat to your heart's content. The Illuminati fast should come at the end of the 10-day fast. If it is taken alone without preparation, it will not do the work that is done at the close of an ordinary fast. Eat at night on the 8th day, and then neither eat, sleep, nor drink until 12 or 3 o'clock the morning of the 11th day. 12 o'clock is for those who feel unable to go farther. Should this fast seem too hard, you should use your own common sense and stop anywhere that the strain seems too great. A glass of milk, then off to bed will cure any sensation you may contact. In this fast, one often has extended vision and hearing, clairvoyance, clairaudience, trance conditions, suspended animation are all a part of the plan. The fast takes the dimness of the soul away. Do not try this fast unless you are not bound by the old race superstition and fear of the things of the other world. There are many new fields of discovery before the one who knows and is not afraid. There is no danger to the one who is afraid, for his own fear will send him to the table or to bed long before anyone is anxious but himself. It is in this fast that we became adept with the mystic mirror, and it is in this fast that we can discover and, after a while, interpret the Akashic records. And here is where we learn the true power of our wireless mind and catch messages too high to translate into speech. It is in this fast that we see the white light of reality and can commune, not with the familiar spirits of the earth plane, but with the heavenly hosts and masters of the spheres, and more than this, through our own transcendency, we become aware of the elemental consciousness of nature, the masters, the solar system, and the solar gods. Forces of earth, air, fire, and water obey our command, for through this cosmic awareness, they know and love us. The world is only a mirror in which is reflected the other worlds and their inhabitants. And when we are transcendental enough, we see the reflected world of many universes and take our place, a whirling center of divine intelligence in accord with the mighty master minds. From these illumined heights, we return to the normal vibrations of our everyday world, but our soul is filled with the infinite and the joy of things supernal. Our wisdom is not the wisdom of the human, but the wisdom born of our intimacy with what men call God. We can trust our human mind in our human affairs to the uttermost because it is God Himself enshrined. The Illuminati fast is the shortcut of the shortcut, and we may rise to this consciousness and be as one who walks a pathway fashioned from the stars and sheds his light about him as he goes. End of chapter 6. Stay with me right here in this video as we now move on to chapter 7, the vision, creating in consciousness. There is no use fasting without the vision, and this begins on the mental plane. It is built by thought. All the fasting of the past was, to a certain extent, futile, just because those who fasted never knew that they had to destroy completely the mental picture before they could set in a new one. They simply fasted off the flesh and made a feeble change in mental pressure without changing the mental image, often aggravating the old emotional conditions without destroying them. Without vision, the people perish. The masters of the past taught, and true it is today. Without the vision of health, the individual will perish away from health. With the vision of poverty, he will build a hovel. With the vision of misery, he attracts misery. For on the path of life, like attracts like. Whatever man sows, he reaps, and with what measure he meets, it is meted unto him. We know today that we never live for an hour without some sort of mental vision or thought form. After we begin to find these, the past, thought, and true mental forms or pictures, we can have a moving picture show of our own at any time or place. When we fast, we must become the true artist and conceive a new, original thought picture to paint into flesh and environment. The true artist strives always to produce the perfect thing, and we, as artists, must strive to produce a perfect thing which is not on canvas nor cut into stone, but is worked out into our own form. The expression of a beautiful, perfected selfhood is our new work, and we must have the perfected conception and perception of this selfhood before the work can be done. Is it health you want? Then, when you fast, hold a mental image of yourself just as you want to be. Do you want to change your face or form? Then hold a changed vision, or the vision of a new type, while you fast, and your friends will pass you on the street or take you for your younger brother or sister. If you cannot build the vision yourself, then take some picture which in a way fulfills your idea of a perfect personality. You will not reproduce this in exact likeness, but in 1 year you can put the main characteristics into your own type. That which we must become, richer and richer, breath by breath, immortal gain, immortal room. Just as the sculptor works on his marble, cutting away all the unsightly turns, just so, with your mental tools, your thoughts, you must work on your own vision, shaping it to your highest ideals. Hold the vision and fast. Then let your own new body tell the tale to the passerby. It will set in flesh just what you have imaged mentally. If it is in environment you desire change, or if it is any other kind of change you desire, the method is the same. Just hold every day, all the time, the vision of yourself set in the situation and conditions which you desire. Don't make them less in the vision than you really want. Hold this vision. Do with your might what your hand finds to do. Soon, the old conditions will begin to change, and you will be face to face with new opportunities and new privileges. Anyone who will fast once a month under full instructions, projecting the vision power fully from and in his mind, can, in 1 year, and often in less time than this, change his whole body and environment, bringing himself out of impossible conditions, a world of beauty, freedom, and peace. The vision is the beginning and the end of fasting. Even after the fast is over, the one who lives constantly under the vision of health, wealth, love, and service will find that his steps are led closely in these paths, and as he thinks, he is. The vision is built into our bodies and environment by the elemental intelligences of the universal life, which our own recognition commands. Cosmic intelligence is waiting to be acted upon. We are actors. Intelligence must obey because it is mindless mind. It can only obey as it is given direction through our own higher mind. Then it gladly obeys our slightest wish. The way the command carries through to elemental mind is through the vision we set and project each day in unchanging creation. Then fast. Hold the vision of your heart's desire. Work, wait, serve, fast again and again. Project the vision with ceaseless realization, and one day you will stand face to face with your heart's desire in form. The very presence of your soul's command in visualized creation will turn nothing into something for you. For the law saith, "Behold, I come quickly, and I make all things new." End of chapter. Head on over to the next video where I will be there with the following chapters that will talk about the mystical breath.